Welcome to Vlog Thursday, Tom in his backyard edition, because it's beautiful out. I love the fall, and I thought, hey, my backyard seems like a great place to be right now. So unfortunately, it doesn't lead to the best lighting conditions, but hey, whatever. How's the audio? There's the first and probably more important part, is that the audio is working. Get my phone because it's making noise. All right. I just had to turn my phone off. There we go. And message a friend a smart ass comment. So I'm going to start using these a lot more. And I need to do a lot more on-site videos, which is why I bought this DJI system, which works really well. So that's that. But how was the conference? Did you learn anything from it? Yeah, that's what I got to talk about. And that's also why Vlog Thursday didn't happen on Thursday. I was just, really having a great time with the Ninja. They call it the CAB meeting. Well, I forget what CAB stands for. Customers. It's a meeting with other MSPs to talk about the future of the product. It's an event. It's like an advisory board that I was invited to. It's not a public event. So I can't talk about, and you agree to an NDA because they're talking about the future roadmaps, what features they have. They turned on more beta features for us, which puts me in a weird predicament. I need to ask the people at NinjaOne a question about this. I now can't do an updated demo easily without making sure I don't share some of the things we're testing. But nonetheless, I will do some updated videos. I'm positive they could spin up a demo account for me that doesn't have things turned on so we can just talk about it. But why was I there? What is that event? And let me describe that a little bit further. Basically, quickly for the video setup. We'll get this out of the way. These are DJI microphones. They work great. I've got the little, I only know it by its common name, which is called a dead cat. That's what the fuzzy thing is that keeps the wind noise down. But it's got the fuzzy thing on it. And I'm in my backyard and I'm using my new Dell laptop. I don't know. I'm not a big laptop review guy. Maybe I'll do a review on this because I am running Linux on this laptop and I really like it. It runs Linux well. And the camera's not bad if I do it like this. But the sun is in a different position than when I started. So when I started, the sun was down further. Now it's lighting up my backyard and coming over my house because this is my house. Well, this is my back of the house. And this is my backyard. And I love the fall. I just don't want to do, you're lucky you guys get any videos out of Tom in the fall because I just want to sit outside all the time. But I'm doing this one outside because if I was going to do it, I was going to do it outside. So I'm just using the camera on my laptop, so it's not amazing. I was not going to go drag stuff from my studio in my basement just to do the videos. Back to the NinjaOne thing. I want to get this out of the way. So I'm invited with a lot of other MSPs. We have a great discussion about the roadmap of the product, where it's going, where they are, things like that. It's just awesome. And my wife had a good question. I was in Austin, Texas for 3 days for this event. Well, the event's technically 1 day, but I came in early the first day, hung out with some of the Ninja people, had some great conversations. I wanted to meet a lot of them. And then the second day was just dedicated to, and they just don't have enough time for how many cool things they're doing. And all the discussion we had. So that went really well. But basically, it's a whole conversation around the future of the product, what we can test, and how we want to see this, and all the little nuances of it. And my wife asked, "Can it just be a Zoom meeting? Can't you just talk that way?" And as much as I'm a person who keeps wanting to believe that putting a keyboard between me and other people is adequate, having a video conference will not change the nuance of human interaction. It does dramatically. You have a richer experience with them direct. So anyone can do a webinar and give you, hey, here's the new cool things we're doing with this and that. Cool. But what really came out of it is the conversations of me sitting with the CEO, me sitting with some of the other project managers, and not just knowing what they're doing, but getting to know them personally, getting to understand the passion that drives them, and understanding like how they care about the product. They don't care like, oh, we're going to deliver this new feature in Q3 or whatever that might be, your standard deliverables. Those are cool on paper, but understanding like how they're thinking about it, how they look at it, and that little, sit down at an office, sit down. Actually, some of these conversations happened at a restaurant. They set up a really nice gathering, you know, how you have it like an event venue at the back of a restaurant. And it's kind of bounced from people to people. You get their history, you get their stories. Matter of fact, we had a lot of fun sharing origin stories with each other, how we got places and things like that. You don't want that on Zoom because some things are like, all right, you kind of look around and go like, I don't know if any of this is under, you know, it's past the statute of limitations, but this is what went on at this company I worked for, and it was really shady. And this is what I learned from it. Like those are funny stories that made me connect with people better. And I always have a hard time, like I have a lot of conversations, but really connecting with people is not easy. But if tech people are easier for me to connect with because we have common stories. So it was definitely a lot there, doing so much there that gave me, I have so much better feel for the product now than I did. Like I was positive, I'm using it for, and we're growing with them, going further, having that meeting with them. And I'll do some debriefs where I actually get technical, and I'll even bring some of them on because there's things we can talk about. There's things that have been released even since I did my review video of it. And we can probably put something together. And I even was talking to them like when you want to talk about passion around security, meeting with people and talking about how they deliver security, the challenges you have, and how you scale a company to the scale they're doing it, is some really interesting things that not everybody gets to do. Even talking with people about, you know, the way you develop software, the way you think about project teams, and the functional things you do might be some interesting video content because not everybody gets a peek behind the scenes at a company at that scale. I mean, they have over 600 employees. There's just a lot of things going on at Ninja, and yeah, they're, you know, that's a lot to take in. And it was fun. I really learned a lot. I was excited, and I'm super stoked for all the things they have coming. We got to turn a lot of new things on our dashboard because we right away we're trying things out. And the reason they don't make these public is because a lot of people are very hypercritical of things, and this sucks, I don't like where you're going with this. And versus they look for people, the other MSPs, the other users of Ninja that were there, you know, we're all people who want to put together very constructive, well thought out feedback of how to improve the product. Because once you really use a product that is deeply embedded in your business process, you are tied to their success, and you really want to make sure they're doing everything right. So it's just really, you know, a lot to go back and forth with to make sure you're doing things in a way that doesn't hinder, doesn't create noise, doesn't do anything but work on a positive forward motion with the company. It's kind of how I look at it that way. And I really got that feeling from being there for a couple days. That's where everything was going. I had some cool ideas. Some were not cool, but this is also, it's fun. You always think you know the right thing, and some ideas were not cool. Some ideas were cool. And when you talk directly with people who have to develop them, they're going to let you know if they're cool or not cool ideas, or if they're Tom. I kind of joked. I said some of our Tom features, some of our features I think will help the majority. They always have to focus on things that are going to help the majority, unless Tom's idea is just something the majority didn't see and didn't think to do it that way. So yeah, that was a lot of the conversation that went on, but it was awesome. So everything was like just, yeah, super positive experience. And as much as I wanted to just stop and do the Vlog Thursday thing, I'm like, I didn't want to take away from like the constant, and things got a little behind schedule. That's why I assumed they would, because as soon as I seen things in the morning taking a little longer because of the discussions, I was like, okay, this is probably going to go a little longer than they said, so I can't really schedule my vlog. And it was just a roller coaster of nonstop good conversation, which, you know, hey, once I flew all the way down to Austin, Texas, I love all my YouTube followers. So I'm like, I'm going to have to give you guys a little delay. You have to live without me on Thursdays, which some people seem to like me on Saturdays anyways, because, you know, it's earlier for them. People aren't at work. They don't have to disrupt their work day. So here I am on Vlog Thursday doing it on Saturdays. I have a commitment to do at least one live stream a week. So I'm doing it now. Yeah, I see people saying, and I believe this, you know, virtual meetings cannot replace the informal contact between people. Just like you said, those war stories generate new insights into problems, for sure. Let me get the camera pointed up more. Does it look better? Like, there you go. It's knocked. I had my laptop on a box, but it's now knocked on the floor. I should set something up out here and make this a little better. So I don't know if engineers are arbiter of cool. See Google. Yeah, there's I don't know, I like the engineering team there. They were some super cool people, great stories. You know, Austin was an interesting city. I thought that was kind of cool. Oh, let me get something out of the way. where am I going to be? This is a thing I've been trying to do at the very beginning. I'm 9 minutes in, so I guess I could say this. I will be at IT Nation Connect 2022. I'll be at the Acronis Cyber Fit. I don't have the dates pulled up in front of me, but if you Google IT Nation Connect 2022, it's the first result. You can't miss the time for it. So, yes, absolutely be there. Say hi to me. I know there's at least a handful of you that follow me because of how many people I met. GurkCon was awesome for meeting people. Let me get these comments off. Oh, dear. I forgot this is a touchscreen. I have a Dell Inspiron. Is it called a flip? I don't know. The screen flips on it, so I think they call it a flip or something. I don't know, but I can touch the screen, so I'm happy. All right. Is any other questions in here? Are we hiring? Not exactly at the moment, but yeah, we have a thing. I think if you go to our hire us page or something about jobs on there, I don't know, maybe one day I'll set up a career page where I'll figure that out. We're not trying to hire a bunch of people right now. So let's go ahead. Let me move that out of my way so I can sit. Oh, there we go. That's way easier. It was kind of tippy toppy because I had one of those laptop things. Ninja's been impressive, especially the response to slower range supply chain vulnerability. They got out here and laid out. Yeah. My overall though, someone asked my forums this, and I should pull up my forums because it's a good question. So where's forums? Oh, and then we got to share the tab. Come on. This is gonna be easier to do. Sorry, people watching my laptop flop all over the place. So let me go to the latest here. I'm going to hit share screen. And we can have something more than just me on the screen. So you put it on there. All right, I can click share screen. Once I present the screen, it's a lot easier. This is over in my forums, and this is people asking the question of, do you need an RMM? This question comes up all the time. If you have an online separate local remote access AV both with an AV dashboard, Windows patching, do you really need an RMM2? Let's just say Windows patching is garbage. And yes, if Windows patching worked, so this is actually a topic that I didn't really have time to discuss with the people at Ninja. They offer RMM for Linux. I don't use it for that because they were talking about Linux patching. I'm like, Linux patches itself really, really well. We in the Linux world do not have discussions on how do we hold back patches because it's a disaster. It's going to destroy the system. Microsoft, on the other hand, has patches that don't work, break the system, don't run, or my favorite was all the Exchange patches. The first time around, they were wrong. The next time around, they were right, but you may apply them, but then they don't actually work, even though they say they're applied. The reality is your RMM has to wrestle with the Microsoft beast. If we didn't have the Microsoft monopoly that exists today, we could probably do things in a better way, but we have to deal with the reality we have. And the reality we have is Microsoft has the majority of the desktop. If you work in the business support world, depending, I would say small business to mid-market, and even some of obviously a lot of large enterprises, these are toolings you need to get things done at scale. And that was my answer for it. And it just comes down to Microsoft being garbage and having no consequences. So, this was my reply in my forums was it really depends if you want to scale your company with people or with tools that make it easier. We're using NinjaOne and have everything integrated into one dashboard. It allows us to manage over 70 separate companies without as large of a staff as doing things manually. And the reason they're all separate companies is as you get into them, each company, unless you're working in a single vertical, they have different policies, they have different rules, they have different times. They are different time zones in my case because we manage companies remotely across all the different areas of the United States. They're not just here in Detroit. So you have to come up with things that are customized to those companies, monitor all of them. And I've seen people, there's a couple of videos that are around for people like bypassing or this is how you run a business without RMM. They just keep throwing people at it. And I'm like, I mean, that's cool, but people aren't, I know someone asked for hiring, but generally speaking, people are not easy to find, skilled people, I should say, to do all these things. So you kind of have to have something such as tooling to make that easier. This is the same thing with security monitoring at scale. My friend works for a security team for a very large company. How do they do it? they have a lot of tooling because they manage like 200,000 endpoints and the security thereof. So there's a lot there. Thank you very much for the donation. You love the t-shirt designs. I have some fun ones coming. I was reminded of one. We were talking about a security incident we had done, and some of their systems weren't hacked because they were using Novell. So we have these shirts that we didn't publish yet called Security Through Antiquity with a typewriter on it. I just thought it was funny. And so, yeah, there's probably some new shirts coming soon. But yes, thank you. Much appreciated. Much appreciate the donation. Make sure to set my coffee all the way down so I don't spill it on me. Have you used or heard of Comet backups? Thought you have. Yes, we heard of them. We thought they were pretty cool. But there's a few things we didn't like with the way the API keys were handled when you were doing deployments on there. I don't remember the exact notes because Eric is my backup expert, one of my employees. And but let me pull up. I can pull up Comet backup. So yeah. Just so people, I don't think it was a bad product. It's pretty cool because it's got the ability to host it. I didn't think I'd like using a touchscreen on my computer, but it's pretty cool. But yeah, Comet backup. I think it's just, what is it here? The URL is oh man. Well, now I hate a touchscreen. Just goofed up my screen. There we go. CometBackup.com. It's a neat backup tool. It has the ability to self-host. I think it's pretty neat. But when it comes to doing things at scale, their dashboard was not the most helpful for what we do. And just once we got to the volume of companies we didn't find it as usable for that. So yeah, that's where things are right now. Not a terrible product. To check it out if you want. Is fall your favorite season because you love the outside views and all the leaves? Yeah. Yes, I mean, look at this. Look at all those leaves. That's just awesome. Not good. I don't know why the video skipped for a second. Apparently, if Tom Willett moves his computer too much. But yes, the fall colors and the trees. I can have you guys just look at the trees. User-friendly is key. That is for sure. If things are not user-friendly or scalable, we think a lot about this. This is a big discussion you have when it comes to, with the team at Ninja and things like that, is about how UI usability, how you do things at scale. And when I say things at scale, there's a different use case Tom has than the Ninja people when they say scale, because the other conversation you have with their engineers of how do you scale a company to the scale that they operate at is, they have like, I don't know, they have it on their website, like 10,000 customers and millions of endpoints. I'm talking about just how, we're having the discussion, how do I manage to do IT support for 70 companies? Or in a lot of those are co-managed. So we're working internal with teams, policies, and differences between what they have. Think about that at a different level when you are a even larger company you want to scale. And some services don't just scale easily like that. So, oh, that was your forum post. Awesome. What's your prediction on the availability and pricing of network switches coming back to normal? It will happen. I just don't know when, but we're starting to see supply chains pick up a little bit. I actually follow, if you're into economics at all, which are interesting to me, economics and tech and the convergence of the two. I follow Scott Galloway, and he's an economics professor, has a lot of interesting things, wrote several books, does a lot of consulting, but he's got a lot of he's got a lot of good reasons. He says that things are looking up when it comes to fixing some of the inflation problems, fixing some of the supply chain problems. So I think things are actually going to be a lot better soon. It takes time, but they've ramped up the production. The demand is there, and companies are good at figuring out how to meet that demand. The supply chain was disrupted because we realized of our dependence on too small a number of suppliers. That has been remedied, but you can't remedy it immediately. It takes time. It's just like when people say manufacturing is coming back to the US. Yeah, cool. If I said it today, building a factory is a several-year build out. I actually met with manufacturer. They're finishing their building. They've been working on it for the last couple years to build their new fab facility here in Michigan. It takes that long to engineer it. I mean, I talked to one of the high-level engineers, met him at a bar randomly, talk about what he did. But, you know, the challenges of building that are really technical and really difficult. So once this plant gets online, which is going to be not till next year when they can start producing chips at volume, it'll change the game, but not until they do it at volume. So what's the next thing computer networking hardware to get you excited? Well, nothing really in the computer networking and hardware gets me excited as much. Like, I really like the high density servers in the hardware. The networking is probably the part that gets me less excited. Networking's networking. Cool that we're getting faster networks. But when I see the virtualization technology and the condensing of servers, Wendell just did a video on the new Supermicro server. I love the video title because I think he's right. 1U is dead. We're not going to do 1U servers. Why would we? The engineering problems with 1U servers is the smaller fans. The small fans can't move the volume of air, so it's hard to get good air cooling. A 2U system has better physics for that. And he really highlights that because now we have two separate nodes in one 2U chassis. So things like that, where we get higher density compute, is going to be really pushing and leveling up the game. We can get the high density compute in a small 2U system and works really well. Gravity zone includes patching. I don't know any large MSP, I learned this from being there too, that doesn't hate gravity zone and thinks it's a problematic product. So we didn't really spend time evaluating it, but we know a lot of people that moved from it and moved to the things we use, which is NinjaOne and SentinelOne, and they said it's substantially better. I don't have firsthand experience to really dive into why, but these are a lot of big MSPs with, like, I don't know, one guy had 6,000 endpoints, so I think they've tested it well enough. But I don't know. I suppose things they didn't know how bad it was until they tried something else, and that's actually a very frequent problem you would run into. Still on Pop OS, yes, definitely on Pop OS. Works great. Really happy with it. No complaints about it. Well, there is a problem with the new chipset in this system and Linux in general, but it's not a Dell problem. It's specifically an Ubuntu problem, but I have some mitigations. It has to do with the way it consumes more than the normal amount of power when sleeping. So minor problem, doesn't bother me that much. But this Dell laptop, which is like a Dell Inspiron Flip or something like that it's called, even has a fingerprint reader, works fine in Pop OS. So when I unlock my computer, I can just put my finger on it. So it works. I really like it. It works quite well. Yeah, Gravity Zone interface is hell. That's what a lot of people had told me. You've had issues with S1, SentinelOne, and the brick systems. I can't speak to that because we're doing a lot of SentinelOne, and I don't know anyone that's had that issue with it. So that's not been a problem I've run into with SentinelOne and bricking systems. How far away from having 10 gig switches replace the current 1 gig consumer switches, or 1 gig be for us? 1 gig was going to be with us for a long time because the consumers just don't need 10 gig. The home lab people want 10 gig. The businesses, this was a dumb argument I had on LinkedIn with someone, and I'm just like, I think some people just want to be contrarian and argue with me, which is fine. I mean, eventually I'll just ignore you, which is what I had to do with this person. They were trying to tell me how 10 gigs is standard where they are and that I'm wrong. And I'm like, okay, but we're doing business with a lot of large companies and wiring these large companies, and we pretty much still just see 1 gig. And most computers come with 1 gig. And it's because there's not a need for what they're doing. There's a diminishing return with minor exceptions. Do you work in the movie industry? Okay, cool. You probably need 10 gig. If you're doing editing of large files, you need 10 gig. You need to move large amounts of data. You need 10 gig. You need to do a live stream. I can do this on under 100 and do live streams and talk to 80 people who could also click the like button while you're at it. 80 of you could be talking to me on, I mean, I don't know, 20 meg connection. It's not, because you think about my internet connection's a limiter, and my Wi-Fi is obviously not going to be even at full speed. Wi-Fi is never the speed it quotes, for those of you that didn't know. That's a common thing when people set Wi-Fi. It says it's got a max speed of this, and I'm only getting X of that. I'm like, yeah, Wi-Fi never gets the max speed. So back to your question, it's not likely that it's going to become mainstream. 10 gig's been around since 2006. So what does that put us? 18 years in? So it's it's uh it's going to be always for only people that need that extra. I looked at the different laptops. The reason I'm using this Dell is it had the best looking OLED screen. I wanted OLED. I'm outside. I got the screen at, what is this thing at? 20% brightness. I'm reading everything perfectly fine. I can get it so bright it looks weird. Like when I turn the brightness up a little, it's wild. Like right now I got it at 50%. This is not something I'd be able to share easily, but the screen on this is incredible. I wanted a really nice OLED screen, and hands down, when you start comparing things side by side, the Dell OLED screen was just beautiful. It sold me on this laptop. I could care less that the screen flips around. That's kind of a novelty option. But yeah, the screen being beautiful is really what it comes down to. But now, on the topics of technology that gets me exciting, I guess in some terms of networking, not in terms of network hardware, the overlay networks are super exciting. All the work around that has been amazing. So that's really cool. So the reason 2.5 gigs exists is the long tail of legacy. 2.5 gig will work over 5e networks. And I want you to think about things and how it works in a large company. Let's say we have an office building that has, oh, I don't know, 3,000 people in that office building. And for 3,000 people, there could be as many as 5,000 Cat 5e runs in there. Think about what it costs and how much of a remodeling problem it is. It's not just pulling the wire to replace 5,000 cables in an office like that. Well, 2.5 gig will work over 5e. So the reason for 2.5 gig is because there's a need for a little bit more speed in areas. They need to get a little more data across, but they don't want to rebuild the infrastructure of the company. So here comes 2.5 gig to save the day. I don't care about it that much. It's not that exciting. It solves the problem for those companies that don't want to rewire. But it's not, most of the time, 2.5 gig is kind of a band-aid on it. Home users seem to get more excited about it. If you're a home user and you're trying to evaluate a 2.5 gig switch, spend just a couple more dollars and get a 10 gig switch, or spend the same amount of money and get a used 10 gig switch. 10 gig switches are, especially if you're a home user and you're looking at SFP, are so inexpensive right now. That they're hard to pass up. So that's the reason for a lot of those. We're using Rocket Backup and leaning to shifting Veeam. I haven't used Veeam. Some people have taken the time to architect it and be really happy with it. I don't have any gotchas for Veeam. People like it. I know people using it. And yeah. We switched MSP 360 backup, and it's been good so far. What are your thoughts on their RMM tool? I'm really bullish on NinjaOne. I haven't really taken the time to evaluate MSP 360's tool, but we're all in on NinjaOne, so I don't really have the time to do it. It was really difficult to switch from Enable. We had used it for so many years, and even our testing, I mean, we had to test and we moved 400 endpoints for a demo, just 400 of them, just to try and make sure we understood the product with NinjaOne, and we loved it, so we stayed there. It's hard to evaluate other products because testing it on 10 endpoints tells me nothing. Testing it in real world scenarios across we are moving blocks of 100 here or 200 there and getting up to 400. That's a real test when you know if the product works well. And we were really happy with the way the product worked. So then we eventually migrated all of our endpoints over there. That's where, we understand the product better. If you're just trying to do it at small scale, it's hard. So I don't think I could give a fair shake to the tool. I don't know enough about it. As an MSP, have you seen requests from customers about crypto, either setting up or explaining of it? I mean, people ask about it sometimes. Setting it up, crypto miners. I've done a lot of consulting on crypto miners, especially because I do storage consulting. I did a lot on Chia. I don't have any crypto miners. I think most of crypto solves no real world problems. As a matter of fact, seems to create them because crypto I could rant about it, but I won't get turned into the crypto rant. Because the crypto bros will come after me and go, dude, it solves all the problems. And then I can tell you exactly how it's never solved the problems. And now the crypto market's crashed so much. Just go to Web3 is going great. Let's go there. This is my favorite. This is my last thing I'll leave you with. Is we go. We'll pull up this site. You know, Ubuntu Touch works way better than expected. But yeah, Web3 is going just great. Follow this website, laugh and laugh. That's my thoughts on crypto. So, hey, hello. Don't think I've seen the house setting before. Yeah, I don't use. This is the first time I think I've ever done a live stream in my backyard. I just built this gazebo back here, and so yeah, this is definitely. You know, I wonder. Here, we'll see how far I can get. Oh, I'm gonna stand up for a minute. How far can Tom get in his backyard without the Wi-Fi? I don't have my Wi-Fi works in my backyard, but usually I go back in the gazebo. But yeah, I'm at my house. Let me spin around. That's my house. So that's my hot tub. That's my trailer. So oh, there we go. But yeah, I can probably walk back here. Oh, now I'm in the sun. Can I do my live stream from my gazebo? That's the next question. How good is my UniFi in my house to reach this far back? Which I never did a video about that. Holy crap, it works. Yeah, I have a pretty big yard. You can, there we go. Ah. Oh, that now the sun's in my face. Hold on. We gotta switch seats. There we go. Is the sun? Oh, there we go. Now the sun's not in my face. There. And then you looking at my house that way. All the stuff in my yard. I like spinny chairs. There. This is a nice view. I don't think I can go much further back. Tell me, is the live stream cutting out? I don't have any complaints about Veeam. Like I said, I have some MSPs I know that are really happy with it. So, but even though we're using MS3 360 now, oh, is it 480 now? It's getting glitchy. All right, I'm gonna go back up where it's not glitchy. So, all right, I got to put there's a project video. Tom putting outdoor Wi-Fi at his house. So that'll be a thing. Oh, the sun's moving at least. There's leaves everywhere where I set this down. There we go. I'm actually plugging the cord back in. So I like to keep the battery charged and things. The battery's pretty good on this, but we're still, I spent, kind of back on the NinjaOne thing. I spent a lot of time talking to the Ninja backup people. We had some glitches here and there that have now been solved. The problems we had have been fixed. So we're going to be evaluating again and doing more testing with it. So if you're looking for a new backup system and you're a NinjaOne user, check out what NinjaOne's doing. So those things, it's not a separate product. It's all part of an integrated offering they have. Let's see. What else do we have in here? Oh, yes. At the very moment, we're using Freshdesk, but we will be migrating. I can't give all the details yet, but right now, as of today, we're using there. So we didn't switch back to them yet. We're going to start doing testing. I'll just be honest. So we're going to do some more testing with it. They solved the problems in some of the glitches, and they're doing a lot of. This is the cool thing, It's hard when you have certain things working a certain way that people become dedicated to. The hard thing is when you are actually willing to take the time to refactor the code. And one thing you don't learn till you really get to know them is like they're really taking the time to fix any of the little. It was just some glitches we had with some of the full image restores, and they're just going to be adding more features to it. So If you're looking, and I can't give all the details, I will get them on to talk about it. That way I'm not ever in potential any violation, but they've hired, well, things I can say, they've hired some really new project managers that used to work at big MSPs. These project managers were MSPs that left, that now work there. That was a really cool insight, is seeing that they have people, not just developers work for those people, but some of the project managers in charge of product managers, not product managers. So yeah, let's see, how do we ban people? There we go. Come on. All right. Let's see. Thoughts on Ninja ticketing? Yes, that's my thoughts on it. Yes. I say yes on Ninja ticketing. So, let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, yes. YouTube chat's so much fun. There is kind of a weird thing that I don't know how to solve easily. This is a Ubuntu thing. If you touch the touchscreen, it works great. The problem with the touchscreen is the mouse disappears, and you can still use it, but it doesn't have a mouse pointer, and you got to wiggle the mouse like this, well, the touchpad like this, and it just pops back up. It's working because you can watch it moving, but you can't see where the pointer is. And the to ban things, when you want to ban something, you gotta touch these little three dots. Why leave? The goal is to keep everything as much as possible, as much as reasonable, into one single dashboard with NinjaOne. The NinjaOne ticketing, the NinjaOne backup. The more you can do everything, so you have a place to check things. See earlier comment where Tom says he manages over 70 businesses. How do you manage 70 businesses? You don't want to do it with 8 dashboards and try to look across all the different clients across dashboards. The more data you can put into a single dashboard, so you really can understand what's going on, and pivoting. There is a switching cost, and both mental and physical, moving between things, when you have to go, oh, cool, I've noticed a problem. Let me go over here. Oh, here's a ticket. But when you start integrating those things, and you can say, hey, there's a ticket. By the way, on the sidebar, here's going to be all that information I need about it. When was the last backup run? When was the, what's the status of that machine? Can I connect to it? Can I click and just boom, remote into that machine with that ticket, all through one area without switching around and having to even look, even if it's only a minute? It allows your text to be much, much more efficient. So having it all in one place where I can answer all the questions without going, hold on, let me another tab. Let me look at this. Hold on. Oh, you need that file restored? Let me go into that. Oh, I wasn't logged into that one. Hold on. And even if it's single sign-on, maybe it logged out, maybe it timed out. Being a dashboard is just a whole lot. So, oh yes, fingerprints all over the screen drive me bananas. So I'm with you. So on that. I've had a Synology NAS for a few years. I really like all the features offers. I've been thinking about getting a second NAS for backup. Would you recommend Synology or something else? Synology to Synology backups are smooth. So if you're very familiar with Synology and you like it, you're happy with it, but you want to duplicate it, Synology with their hyper backup makes that easy, and it's a smooth process. So I would say yes. I use Cove Data and Ninja. Attempt to look at Ninja for some test out. Yeah. One dashboard, or if your product's not worth it, yeah. Well, there's a reason I'm on product committees and at events and flying from Detroit to Austin to have conversations to improve product. So yes, and product is improving. Let's see. Is it worth revisiting TrueNAS app deployment networking once you get out of the VM hypervisor mindset? Just clicks for how much more convenient it is for chart-based apps. Yes, I tweeted today about this. Hey, let's pull up Tom's Twitter, because that's why not. I tweeted about this today, and I'm just using a mouse because it's way faster to, it's cool, but Let's see. What do we got here? People tagging me in stupid things. Not what I wanted. Come on. So this is me having a conversation with the True Charts people. Like, I talked to them, and this is one of the things I told them I'm really looking forward to. Is a better backup restore system for, I'm going to drink some coffee real quick here. Better backup and restore for everything. So yes, I think it's really cool, but the problem that I ranted about was really simple. If you run these apps, users, especially home lab users and new people in technology, get really stoked about one-click deployments and things like that. They also reach out to me having a YouTube channel because we do consulting because they lost all their data and they don't understand necessarily, because it's part of the learning curve, how to back up and do that. There's a lot of documentation is being produced now to get that sorted out. And so I'll do some videos on it, like, hey, not just how to install that, but I think some tutorials kind of skip on this part. Here's how you store it. Here's how you back up the data. Here's how you restore it and your data. So you got to make sure you understand how that works, because I feel terrible for people. I had someone that just lost 3 terabytes of data, and they were thought you could just undelete a whole data set in TrueNAS. And I'm like, you can't. There's not like an undelete button once you, like, they thought you could just do that. And I'm like, no, you cannot. They're like, oh, well, that changes my needs a lot for support. I'm like, yeah, probably does. Because then I have to think about what to do next, because they have no more data on their system. So yes. Oh yeah. Their product manager hires are awesome. Like, I got to hang out with all those people. I made some good new friends. There are other MSPs who did things at scale who are really smart, exited the MSP market. Those are always fun stories. Well, MSP owner market, and moved into the MSP market in terms of working with Ninja. So they really get it. Like, they understand what we as people who have to manage computers, they understand what was needed at a really good level. Oh, do you have your Ninja allowed to just one IP address? My workers are remote, so no, I have it allowed to any of their IP addresses. But that helps from a security standpoint, because if someone were to get your username, your password, and whatever you're using for TOTP, by the way, we use FIDO keys, they wouldn't be able to log in. So it will help from that aspect of it. Ah, yes, enjoying the Indian summer, aka autumn. I don't really think scale is more scale to me, other than have some UI element issues. I don't think the user, it slightly looks different because they didn't just copy paste it from core, but I don't think it's any more complicated. I think user right management is not something people understand very well, so I need to probably do some updated videos on it. That's on my to-do list. What's my go-to coffee? I do like good coffees, but I'm not super picky. I mean, when I was traveling, I'll do Starbucks. I like Big B's. I'm not a real picky coffee person, but Tim Hortons has really good coffee too. I'm not like this. I'm not really a coffee snob though. I will drink, and I have, well, when I travel on my motorcycle, I'll drink some really garbage coffee because it's there. There'll be coffee heated up on a camp stove, and I'm like, whatever. It's better than no coffee. Um, could you do some provider content regarding SIM? Really appreciate it. I'm working on that. I want to do a security onion video. So your Ninja rep is awesome. Yeah. YubiKey with Ninja is great. Do you plan on making an updated Ninja video to go over how everything is set up after using it for a long period of time? Yes. That it's, if you maybe weren't here for the earlier video though, they've turned on a lot of features on my account that I'm testing, kind of related to me going to that event. So I'm gonna probably have to I'll bring people in because maybe we'll talk about policy and setup a little bit of how we do things. So I can't just show my Ninja anymore because there's too many things we've turned on. But I can talk to them. I'm positive they'll spin me up like a separate demo account that I can do that for and have some discussions about it. Well, you know what? There might be even a better way to do this. I pitched. These are ideas I float. Is like, how can me and Ninja work together more? Even if it's creating content on a YouTube channel for them, because it'd be very dedicated Ninja, and I like talking about products. So, there are definitely topics that can be talked about. Got to figure out where they land, because there's a lot of good information that they have forums and things like that. And the more we can get people collaborating with each other to share ideas on how the product works, I think the better we all become as users. And Ninja also enjoys the interactions of watching how their product is used, because that's what gives them insight back into getting things done. All right, I'll let this go a few more minutes because I want to play on my motorcycle because it's nice out. And I might go in the house because I want more coffee. So I'm taking you guys inside. Oh, how do I open the door with all this stuff in my hands? With my foot, probably? No, I can do my arm. Oh, we're going to Tom's house. Now, the cool thing is, my wife's in a meeting in the other room. I can do this. You guys can hang out in my kitchen with me. There. Yes, there's LED lights in my kitchen, because of course there is. See, one nice thing is when you're not tied to the system in terms of the microphone, because this wireless microphone works all over the place, I can just walk and talk and have a conversation with everybody about this. It's really bright in that window, so the lighting's probably better if I did it this way. So there's a lot of light that comes in my kitchen. So go here. Now I can have a stand-up conversation. And it's just chilly enough to wear a jacket, but I don't need a jacket anymore. Take that off. So NinjaOne. By the way, when I was waiting for someone to give me some crap about this. I had my Dado bag at NinjaOne. No one said anything. I don't use anything Dado. I just happen to have a Dado bag. Oh, let's see. What is your process? If you're doing file backups, you can do it that way. We're pushing everyone to the cloud when it comes to QuickBooks, because QuickBooks is end-of-lifing. The on-prem product of QuickBooks is getting end-of-life, so they have to use the cloud. Get them there sooner, and it's less of an emergency. So yeah. Oh, what about the motorcycle? Are you riding one? Yes, I love riding motorcycles. Here's the thing. How do I find this? Where do I have that video at? So if we went over here, well, I can just pull up photos. Somewhere I'll share it. Oh, I did manage to. Hey, that's my motorcycle right there. So it is, when it's not laying on the ground. I have another picture of it somewhere. See, is it? That's what it looks like not on the ground when it's actually there. So it's Yamaha Super Tenere. Oh, you like the riding videos on my other channel? Yes. If you are good with the Google Foo, you can find Tom as a personal channel. So there's no way my larger QB enterprise users will be able to use QuickBooks Online. Well, they're going to have to find something else, because QuickBooks is moving that way. They've already done it in some of the other countries. They haven't done it in the US yet. The date has not been announced. It's going to be like a year or two out, but it's happening. Everyone knows it. They're getting rid of the on-prem product, so they're going to hit that. move to a new product or move online. So yeah. Without scoofing up my YouTube, can I do this? Can I can pull this up. I'll drop a link for it. My personal videos. There we go. I shared these. I think I shared this one on there's if you follow me on Twitter, you're able to find these things. But yeah, that's me riding my motorcycle. I do post videos of me riding. That's on my other channel. I don't put this on my channel. I mean, this doesn't belong on my channel, but for those who want to do it, I have an Insta360, so I'm always having fun making videos and all the fun stuff to do like that. There's actually another video on there that's kind of fun. Whoops. Go back. It's going to be. So this is actually pretty cool too. Where did it go? I met someone on a dune buggy, and they took me for a ride, so I hooked my camera up to it. So this is actually just done with Insta360 and my Pixel 6 camera. I mean, look, that's my Pixel 6. I think it's just beautiful. Also, I like editing and playing with videos. So, and I like dune buggies, and motorcycles. But if any of you want to see any of this stuff on my personal channel, I don't care. I'm not trying to get subscribers for it or anything like that. It's just something I do. Like, I don't know where else to put it, so I put it there. I share it with friends. I share it on Twitter sometimes. There's not a lot to it. All right. As mentioned, sim content will be very appreciated. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just got to find the time to it. I really want to do a video on Security Onion because it's amazing. Actually, I got something cool to show you guys. With Security Onion, I got to meet some of the Security Onion team at an event, and I have a Security Onion. So it only encourages me more to do this. So absolutely. What do you think of Docker Tech? I find it confusing and easy to break. I'm using XCP&G virtualization, webmail operations for a small business. It really depends. Everything has a use case. There's a use case for Docker, but not everything should be Docker. So having things as virtual machines can be very beneficial, especially all the networking challenge that may come with it. But if you need ephemeral stateless instances of things, there's a good reason to use Docker. And if you architect something, and it comes down to the product you're using and whether or not it would be a good fit, because people ask me why I don't just break things out into more the whole like break everything out or why everything broke out into a series of virtual machines versus Docker. And I like each machine to be completely individualized because I don't run into any conflicts. I don't have to do any weird networking with it. And everything's its own independent VM. This also helps in the event that there was some type of escape of one of these, like, because they're sometimes external facing hosted things. If something were to escape, the lateral movement between there and access between things could be more damaging. I trust virtual machines to be, especially with Zen server, extremely isolated from each other at a very fundamental level. So, but it comes down to the products you're using and how they're interdependent on each other and how you set things up. So there's times to use it, there's times not. It's not like there's just one answer for everything. Is anyone having a problem using Yumi Multiboot to get a bunch of server on your USB? I've never used it, so I have no idea. Doesn't everyone use, what is the tool that everyone loves so much for USB boot? The multi-tool thing. I can't remember what it's called. It's on the tip of my tongue right now. But yeah, it's the multi-boot tool for USBs. Someone say it. Rufus. There we go. Rufus is the one. So yeah, that's what most people use. When I need to image something, Ventoy. Ventoy's the other one. Ventoy's the one that I was really thinking of because it has the multi-boot. Etcher's good too. I see people making Etcher. There's a lot of different tools out there. So Ventoy's the cool because it's got the multi-boot options on it. So that one's definitely pretty cool. Trying to think of what else here. Yeah, I had something else on that topic. Jeff from Craft Computing did a video on a device that does it, a hardware device that does it. That's pretty cool. And it's funny because lots of people started going, but what about Ventoy? I like Ventoy. And I'm like, whatever, dude. Me and Jeff just laugh how people, like, if you review something, people, if they don't, or if they prefer their other product, they just go crazy about it. Like, you got to talk about this. And yeah, I've never used Yumi, so I have no idea. Posting, I mean, it's probably posted in Ubuntu forums. I don't even know if anyone in my forums is using it. Yeah, Craft Computing did the video on the hardware one. We used to use the early version of that like years and years ago. We just don't, like, as a business, we just don't have a strong use case for using it. Most of the time, we're just loading Windows. So we have a lot of Windows USBs. That's like from my business. We're not loading Linux and everything. That's just not realistic. So we're pretty much like hammering out lots of installs with like just Windows installs. It's boring. So some people like KVM. I like XCP-ng. We do a lot of consulting with XCP-ng for companies that are doing things at scale. I mean, we helped the company migrate over 2,000 virtual machines off of VMware over to that. So when you're running 2,000 virtual machines, you have different needs than a home user with 10 or 20. So different use cases. We don't even have that many virtual machines on there ourselves. We have more stuff we play with. I think I was sharing before. Do we have? Go to our storage servers. Make sure I share the screen. Make sure I make the screen bigger. Where's, yeah. So there's 42. Not 40. Well, just about 42. Some of these are going to be snapshots, but there's probably like 30 virtual machines on here for stuff we're working on. We also have a lab environment, so we got a bunch. We have a handful more, not a bunch more, but a handful more there. 27 over in the. There's actually less in the lab right now. That'll change. There's a lot more being built. I have a new video on our Ryzen servers because they're stupidly amazing. I have an actual use case. I image machines with specifically made images. I get USERT because I have different versions of image depending on the hardware being imaged. Yeah. I rely on Proxmox. However, our company, we use IBM and VMware. Cool. But I got to do a video on these Ryzen machines. My staff doesn't find this as funny as I do. Don't worry, everything happens for a Ryzen. Because we were making everything happen on it. And but yeah, these Ryzen machines, someone's going to complain. I know. Someone's going to have an opinion, not complain. They're Ryzen 9s. So yes, this is the specs on them. And someone will be upset that, like, I already had that. I posted it on, I don't know where I posted, maybe Twitter. But Tom, you went with the 12 core, not the other core, you know? And so people asking, why'd you go with the Ryzen 9 5900X? You should have went. that's one thing. I guess why the hardware videos get so many views is because people all have to offer their opinion. Like, oh, I got to watch it. I got to tell him why he's wrong. So, do you see SMEs wanting? Oh yeah, the new price increases of VMware wanting. It's like we're doing a consulting gig that may involve 14 data centers. 14 data centers moving away from VMware. So for those of you that will add the comments, Tom, it's just not used. VMware's the standard in there. Yeah, that's cool, guys. I'll keep doing my thing over here while you guys tell me it's the standard, and everyone uses it. And it's a toy that's only not used in there. I can tell you that XCP-NG is now being used at least, I can't say the name of the company, but they're in the Fortune 500 and they've consulted with us. So we can now say XCP-NG is being used, and there's probably a few more than that. Yeah, it's used quite a bit. So have I made the list for the Ryzen build yet? I will. I got to do a video now. I wanted to build it and use it for a while. And now that we've used it, and let me show you one of the things that's changed here. We haven't just used it. When you go to our hosts, you may notice something missing from here. Our Dell servers are gone. We sold them. We actually had a client that needed them as a backup. So we ended up, they had one of theirs, they had a calamity of things, but we upgraded them. They have a brand new Dell server, but they also wanted something good enough to run and back it up. So we actually have our old Dell server. We gave them a really good deal to sell it used to one of our clients as a backup. And, that's how I was like, we have a client that kind of needs this. And we're friends. These are like co-managed and people who are knowledgeable with IT. And we told them like, hey, we got a good deal on this Dell server. The only thing it didn't have is we use Seagate Nitro drives. They're enterprise SSDs. They needed a few more for their storage needs. So we actually filled it up with brand new Seagate Nitro SSDs for them and sold it to them for a really good price. But we went all Ryzen for everything we're running internally, and it works really, really well. Yeah. Yet not the default in any major cloud provider. VMware, yeah, it's not going to be the default. It's just too expensive, and they're really doing a great job of making it more enterprise accessible. And it's XCP-NG and Zen Orchestra scale very, very well to large companies. Do you do consulting on AWS? Not really. AWS isn't really my thing. So no. TrueNet Scale, basically data plus apps would be the best, or at least ways to run the apps in the app server and the data on TrueNet Core. I can't think of any way to do that. A good way to do that. What is the best architecture, such a system, method, or protocol to get two separate services to talk to each other? NFS. NFS is how you want to talk to each other, but honestly, I wouldn't do that. If you're going to run applications, you run them on like a good hypervisor that can run the applications, and then you NFS over there. So, for example, in Zen Orchestra for us, when you look at my storage, we'll just go this one here. But how is it connected? So this is all attached over NFS, and that's how you want these connected. Does it say here? I don't know. Where does it say stats? I don't know. Either way, I guess it just says it here. I thought there was a spot where it said like the type of connection it is. I guess it doesn't. Oh yeah, it does. It's right here. It's just right in the middle of the screen. Anyways, NFS is a really good way to attach them. The system that runs this is a TrueNAS Core system because it's still very performance oriented. So it handles all of our needs for doing things in Zen Orchestra, because Zen Orchestra runs all of our compute, and not all of it. And we have local storage as well. So anything that doesn't need to be on local storage. Now, some of our stuff that is on local storage is going to be on these, like the Ryzen 1 local storage. These are NVMe local storage. So I do have another 18 disks on here, but the local storage is all NVMe based. So it's a little bit more expensive, but for those small things that I really want to have really high performance, it definitely has no problems with the performance on running NVMEs. So that's what runs on the local storage. A couple things run on there. There's only a couple terabytes of NVMe storage, but most of the stuff we're running is not that big. like the UniFi controller and things like that. But yeah, XO is just an awesome tool. Now, if you're going to run things in TrueNAS scale, the way you run them in TrueNAS scale is log into my scale server. It's making sure that you have the apps separated. So when you look at the settings for this, make sure it's in the screen, it's being shared properly, right? Yes. Oh, I clicked on net data. I meant to click on this. So edit. So the way you think about it is your applications are essentially should be stateless and ephemeral, and all of your data should be stored within a data set. So when I run the applications on here, so should I run TrueNAS Core? I don't run TrueNAS Core with a hypervisor and run the apps on the same hypervisor and manifest them together. Yeah, if you're using Core, I don't use virtualization in Core at all. I don't use well, I'm testing virtualization in Scale, and I've noted in my Scale videos the bugs on it. I run a completely physically separate server. But if you are going to use the apps within TrueNAS Scale, you just want to make sure you're saving the data to the data sets because that's going to be your fastest. By running the applications, and doing it at the kernel level. So they're not doing an NFS share. When you set the applications, they're doing it at the apps have direct access via the kernel to the local data sets. That's going to be a really, really fast way to run it. And it works really, really well for that. It depends on what you want to run. Like I run things in Scale and they work fine. Not everything works fine, but it depends on what app you want to run. So I run SyncThing because it works great. I found that SyncThing works great. There's all the apps I run. I was playing with Collabra. I was playing with Nextcloud to do some testing. I don't really use it in any production. The only thing we use in production right now is SyncThing, and it works wonderful. But it comes down to what apps do you want to run? What are the needs? And where's the best place to run them? In the end, I love Graylog, but for Graylog, we run Graylog in XCP-ng, and it's an NFS share back over to TrueNAS. So Scale is production rate. Depends on what you're trying to run. I haven't had any problems with Scale in terms of stability of the shares. Those seem to work fine. Stability of the apps has gotten better, but like their virtualization, see my video on it. Like me and Wendell both ranted about the bugs and virtualization bugs that come with Scale. The applications, there's still goofiness with them. So would I run the applications in production? Besides SyncThing, that's all I need, and it works. But outside of that, I don't know. It depends on which application. Is the upgrade from TrueNAS Core easy? Yes. People really struggle with doing permissions. It's like one of those things. Permissions are, to me, the same challenge of VLANs. They're really hard to understand, and then one day it just goes off in your head like, "Hey, this is how they work," and then you get it. I've been dealing with permissions since the Windows NT days, so I just have never they were hard to understand maybe at first, where they were really simple back then. I have been dealing with permissions for 20 plus years, so I don't know. They kind of just click with me from doing them for 20 years. Oh, hold on. I left my phone outside. I bet this will probably work outside. Let me get my phone. I was like, I hear my phone making noise. It's outside. Actually, I'm going to plug my laptop back in. I had the cord outside. But yeah, the permissions are just something people have a hard time wrapping their head around. Any consulting we've done on permissions has never been, I've yet to have people start, sometimes when people reach out to me, they think that they want to tell me there's a problem with the way the permissions work, Tom. I'll hire you for consulting, but really this is a bug in the product type thing. And I'm like, okay. And then I find out they just did the permissions wrong. So yeah, permissions, always a challenge. If you like Synology, you're familiar with Synology, and Synology makes you happy, use Synology. We use Synology. We think it's a good product. I don't really have any complaints about Synology. I realized I should plug my phone in. I haven't charged it. I have a lot of messages. I mute my phone all the time. Someone asks me for my phone number, and I'm like, well, do you actually want to get a hold of me? Because that's not how you're going to do it. And someone else asks for my email. I'm like, I don't reply to that either. So um, I I have you got to contact our sales department if you want to engage in my company. Sending an email to Tom. If you're not on the list of people Tom has created a list for to highlight your emails, you'll get lost in the stream of emails I get. So that's the nature of email and knowing people and talking on YouTube and going to events and things. You just have to do that. You reach a scale where it just, I don't know. Some people hire personal assistants just to organize their email. I just create filters to organize my email. And vendors, they have a special filter called spam. That's where all of them live. So every unsolicited vendor email is in there. So because they aren't on the list of people that aren't in there. So it's all filtered in lists. Let's see. I don't want to get locked into FreeBSD Nextcloud. Yeah, you can't move anything between. You can't move the jails from TrueNAS Core to TrueNAS Scale. So that's definitely an issue. I hear assistants delete my emails. Yeah. I can not hire an assistant and just ignore them too. Turns out Google gives me lots of storage. And then once things are over a certain date, I can just purge them because they're probably not relevant anymore. Yeah, I had posted this on my LinkedIn. Don't check email, can't get hacked. No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, that was my post on, when did I post that on LinkedIn? A couple days ago, maybe. Let me find it. I trying to post more on LinkedIn. I didn't see people sharing it. Let's do this. And this was my post. When did I post that? 3 days ago. Can't get fish your email if you never check your emails. So that's the truth. Nextcloud and apps, you're right. Jeep IT. I like that it says Jeep IT simple. I'm going to say that because keep IT simple. Why not? Yeah. Do you set up any business using Google Workspace? I think about a quarter of our clients are on Google Workspace, maybe more. We have a decent amount of clients using Google Workspace. We're using Google Workspace. I love Google Workspace. Company in Norway just got pwned 300,000 users. That sucks. I feel bad for those people. Someone's having a terrible weekend. Just don't boot the computer. How many emails do I have right now? I can't show my emails, but what I can do is tell you that I have 312,304 emails right now. So Yeah, I have a lot of emails and messages on LinkedIn that are popping up. So playing with scale saw the advantage of having the apps running on TrueNAS versus VMware XVD, mostly because of the data permissions. Same thing, a good example. I mean, so SyncThing, I'm going to do an updated video on it because one, I really love the product. Someone was asking me today in my forums, which you can pull those up real quick, because this is a comment I had on this. Go to the latest. So this is a common question that comes up a lot. Want to know, and can TrueNAS do bidirectional replication? When you're using replication, it's just like the name says. ZFS replication, as its name implies, is block level replication of one ZFS system to any number of other destination systems, and that's it. It doesn't do bidirectional because of the way it works. And for those you want to know, there's the forum post. But SyncThing is a solution for bidirectional synchronization. Because once you go bidirectional synchronization, the problem you run into is you have to have a management tool that can do conflict resolution between the files. So how do I figure out the conflicts between them, and what's the mechanism for dealing with that? Also, how do we solve things like the potential for something to go wrong and it not to cascade to the other system? Well, SyncThing has facilities for both of those built in. So if you want bidirectional communication, SyncThing is a pretty magical tool to be able to do that. And it works really, really well. Yeah, I don't know why they dropped it. I thought about looking to see if there's a way to put it back on there, but yeah. Can score replicate to each other without a massive bugs? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and log into another machine. We have a lot of TrueNAS machines. Please note, I'm logging into a TrueNAS core machine. The reason I bring that up is let's go over here to replication tasks. All these tasks here are all going to a scale system, and vice versa works perfectly fine as well. So yes, works both ways. You can replicate from core to scale and from scale to core without a problem. No issues at all synchronizing data. So there's no the migration of data between them is not a pain point at all, which is really nice because for the time being, because this particular system, I just reviewed this system like Wednesday. I posted a video about it, or Tuesday I posted a video about it. This is my 45 drive server, and it absolutely is works wonderful with TrueNAS Core and storing all my hypervisors. I don't run any applications on here, so if you look at the jails, it's empty. I don't have a need or a use case for it. If you look at virtual machines, I don't run them on here. Everything runs on my XCP-ng system and points back at this system. So that's how all of that works. Always run TrueNAS on bare metal. They're all bare metal machines. It's the only way to avoid issues and maintain performance. Once you run them on virtualized, you introduce new problems. So yeah, that's all there is to it. Where do you keep your XCP-ng system? I don't know exactly how to answer that. But I can answer with a photo. I keep it right there, right in this photo. I don't understand the question. Maybe the bottom system is the 45 drive system. So that's where I keep it. If that's the question, I don't understand the question very well. There's the 45 drive server. The orange cables are storage. The black cables are just your standard networking. The green cable is out of band management. And then this one is just an extra cable for separation of networks that we don't want on VLANs. because we want them extra secure. So there's where we keep our XCP-ng servers. When XCP will get a new kernel distro, there are problems with 10G drivers and MikroTik. I don't know. That's a question for the XCP-ng forums. Ask the team there when they're going to update it for support for those things. It's not a question I have an answer to. What chassis are you using? I'll gotta make a list because I really don't know. They're from Newegg. There's some generic chassis from Newegg. I will get the list because I'm gonna do the video soon. So I'll get the parts list and talk about them. But yeah, there's something from Newegg. They're nothing special. There's obviously no hot swap power supply in them or anything like that. They're just generic cases. That's all there is to it. There's nothing. They're actually kind of ugly. They're actually really ugly in terms of color. I don't know. I like things look a little neater. Are the two on top of the 45? Yeah. Those are both identical XCP-ng machines, identical Ryzen machines. Both of the hosts in my XCP-ng are the same. So these two hosts, Ryzen 1 and Ryzen 2, are identical. So there's nothing about them that's different. They're the same processor, same memory, same motherboard, same everything. Nothing about them is special. TrueNAS core servers and then separate physical hardware for a box. Yeah. Yep. No, they're not an HA. They're just in the same pool. You don't need HA as much as people think you need HA. HA can create more problems. They're just in the same pool. You create resource pools, but you don't have to have that thing in HA. But the resource pools do allow, so this is the pool of Zen, and there's your Ryzen 1, Ryzen 2 in a pool of Zen. But let's go find something. Actually, we can probably take my Kali Linux box if we wanted, or which another one? Yeah, I got Phoronix. Whoop, that's in the lab pool. I need something that's in pool of Zen. Pool of Zen 1. Here we go. So it lives here. I can start on either one of these. So let's start it on Ryzen 1. So we're going to start my Phoronix pool on Ryzen 1. So let's watch it boot, which will happen really fast. So let's boot it up and show you what happens here. It'll start up. It's kind of weird when Ubuntu boots because the new Ubuntu kind of just gives a black screen for a moment. And then it's like, hey, I'm here. And it works. So it boots really fast. It just black screens for the moment. I don't really understand why, but you can see it's doing stuff because here's the stats. Even right now, it's detecting. It's like, there we go. And it's booted because I know it's just the last little part it does. Reset the screen a little bit, so I got it a little too big here. Hi, honey. I want to say hi to a few hundred people on a live stream.
Oh, I didn't know you were on live stream.
All right. So it's booted and it's running on this server here. This is stuff that you really care about, right?
No, not at all.
Not at
Do
all?
you care
All right.
about annuities?
She sells annuities. But with it running on this server here, even without it being HA, how do you get it on the other server? You can actually just migrate it really quick. So it's actually, let's log into it. So it's got something on the screen other than this. Wait, I think it's. All right, so it's running HTOP, so you can see it's doing something. But if I want to migrate it from where it is to where I want it to be, let's put it over here and hit OK. And it's going to run. And we're going to watch it switch from the Ryzen 1. You can see it up here at the top. And you watch and, oh, it's going to blink the screen because it's now connecting me to the other one. And now we're on Ryzen 2. We just migrated a virtual machine live in, I don't know, 8 seconds. I don't know. Well, was it even 8 seconds? Did someone time that? So I thought the TrueNAS core was on top of the 45 drive. So how's XP on there as well? What's that look like? It's all connected via NFS. I said that earlier. There's 3 machines, 2 Ryzens and 1 TrueNAS core with an Intel processor in it. They're physically 3 separate machines connected with NFS. Morning. Mr. Wizard of Technicals. But no, you can see how quickly I can just move things between the different servers. So I could, start on, when you're starting at any one of the servers in the pool, there's only 2 right now, but I can migrate back and forth between them. And, we can start it. I could probably start a timer, but, it runs without shutting down the virtual machine. I can just move the machines where I need them. Let's migrate it back. So go over here, and let's time it. Where can I find a timer? Well, we'll just go over here and watch it do task. 13, 11, 12, 10, 8. Oh, it's going way faster than seconds. So this is how fast I can migrate it to another virtual machine. So I don't know, 4 seconds. I wasn't really timing that. So that's how quickly you can move these back and forth between there. So you don't need them in HA to do that. As long as you're all in the same resource pool, you can just take live machines and bounce them between servers anytime you want. Have you deployed any Amcrest cameras in harsh color environment? A customer needs a camera deployed near sea with lots of weather. Probably. The cameras always have limited dynamic range, but they should work there. We've got them all over the place. I have issues installing XCP and Ryzen 5950X motherboard. The installer stops, the CPU one, panic, and reboots. Post in their forums. There are some fixes for problems with Ryzens, but I mean, I'm running this with where's the hosts? Ryzen Advanced. These are 5900X 12-core processors. They work perfectly fine. We go back to the hosts. What's this one? What's the lab one? I think the lab one's different. This is a Ryzen 5. Works fine too. So it's working with Ryzen 5 and it's working with the other one. So I really don't have an answer. Post in our forums. Will the cameras survive? I don't see why not if you get weather sealed cameras. But I might do a follow-up on these. These are, let me log into this. Mine have survived fine, but I'm not on the ocean. I mean, Michigan gets like 5 degrees outside or lower. I mean, we get well below 0. For those of you that aren't measuring in freedom units, we get like 10 and 15 C below, like Celsius. It gets really, really cold in Michigan. It gets really warm in Michigan. We had a few days where we reached about 100 degrees. So I've had no problems. Because I'm going to do a follow-up video on these. These are my cameras that still work fine after being outside for a year. So, hey, there's my backyard where I was just setting. Here's harsh lighting conditions because it's so bright outside right now. But they work quite well, and these have been up for a while. So I have videos. If you just type in Amcrest, you'll find the videos on these to see the models and all the details of them. So I think they work perfectly fine. What motherboard are you using? The X570 or B550? Let's log into that because I don't know, but I know how to find out. What's up? Hold on. I'll find the motherboard model in just a second because I'm going to log into the IPMI on these. They're the name is on the tip of my ASRock. These are ASRock systems. As soon as I log in, I'll share the screen because it'll have the board in there. I'm going to do a video on them next week because now that I've used them for a while. By the way, when I say use them for a while, 76 days of power on hours. So yes. This is, where is it? Motherboard model. Here's, we'll drop it in here. This is an ASRock, and I'm throwing the model number in here. So that's the motherboard, X570D4U. So X570 board. Yeah, Michigan is Michigan's no joke for sure. But yeah, they work really well. Haven't really had any major issues with them. I like all the monitoring. I really like the HTML viewer in here. So I'm going to cover this stuff. Like, this works really well in here. Power control, dashboard, sensors, system information. They got a nice modern looking management system on here, so I can manage all these systems. They're at my office and I'm at my house, so I'm able to manage them remotely. They work great though. This is why I'm going to do a video on it, because I want to make sure my video doesn't reflect like, hey, these work. No, these work. They've got 76 days of usage on them. They're running all these applications. We have load tested them to the point of trying to overheat them. We peaked out all the CPUs doing really heavy testing on them to see if they would overheat. Like, I went through all the testing so I could give you a more honest review to come to that. But I think I'm going to go ride my motorcycle. I've been talking to everyone for a while, which has been awesome, but I eventually do have to go do things. Fun fact, Frosty the Snowman was actually filmed in Michigan. I believe that. That makes sense. The other things I can do, where did I put my shoes? Oh, they're over here. Probably don't really need them. For those of you that, I'll end the live stream if you're wondering. So I'm going to go play with motorcycles anyway, so let me go open my garage. There, that's the motorcycles. So wait, well, I probably don't need to share this screen too. So there we go. That's what I'm going to go do. Here's, that's my front yard. I live in an area that's not really rural, but I'm kind of on the edge of the suburbs, so it doesn't take me long to get out in the woods. But yeah, you guys can see my garage and my toolboxes and stuff, and my Tesla and truck, and there. That's what I'm gonna go do next, people. Is there any final questions before I wind this down? Does my wife have any final questions about doing a live stream?
No, just next time let me know so I'm not walking out in the middle of it.
I don't care if you're walking out in the middle. My live streams are very informal, so. Let's see. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Awesome. I might do more of them like this. I like being able to walk around with the laptop and do things. I will be doing them at the office too, with the same way, because I want to be able to walk around the office and just use this microphone. It's just worked amazingly well. So, oh, don't smoke bees, man. The only person qualified to talk about that is my son, whose name is Don't Smoke Bees online, for those of you that have found him. So yeah, that is a topic for another time. Thank you everyone for joining, and see you next time. This went really long, hour and 30. Wow. Oh, the ASRock do not come with 10 gig. We added 25 gig cards to them. So that'll be part of the video. We went 25 gig, but they'll obviously you can put 10 gig cards in there. So 25 gig cards are why I'm able to transfer VMs in a matter of seconds, because they're transferring at 25 gigs. So that's the topic. All right. Thanks, everyone, and talk to you later.